Welcome to HFY Nexa Tube Original Sci-Fi Stories. Earth died on a Tuesday. That's what the report said. They marked it clinically. Global infrastructure failure. 98.3% population loss. Category Z collapse of planetary command. From orbit, the world looked blackened and silent. No satellites, no comms, no ships, dead. The Galactic Council observed from a safe distance. They didn't cheer, they didn't mourn, they simply wrote it off. Humanity overreached, said one senator. An unstable species, said another. Let the world rot. Let the ghosts remain ghosts. And so Earth was left alone. They had attacked Earth under the guise of peace. A diplomatic envoy that turned out to be a fleet. An offer of alliance that ended in fire. The Vreek Dominion had warned the Council, told them Earth was a threat, unpredictable, violent. When the Council refused to back a preemptive strike, the Vreek launched one anyway. 4 hours. That's all it took to turn Earth into a graveyard. Cities disintegrated, vaults cracked open, skies burned black, and then silence. No retaliation, no signal, not even static. Orbiting probes recorded the aftermath. Cratered continents, radioactive wastelands, collapsed orbitals falling like rusted bones into the oceans. No distress calls, no survivors found. The Vreek called it a mercy. The Council called it unfortunate. The galaxy moved on. A memorial was placed in the digital archives. Here lies humanity, bold, primitive, broken. And that was the end of it, or so they thought. Years passed. Scavenger crews occasionally drifted close to Sol, searching for tech, ruins, salvage. None returned. The few automated drones that managed to escape broadcast nothing useful, just static, then blackouts, then long, empty silence. Some claimed Earth had nothing left. Others said something was still there, watching. One vessel, the Zekari Dawn, ignored the quarantine. The crew laughed as they breached Sol's edge. We'll find something the others missed. They were afraid of ghosts. We're not. 3 hours later, their signal went dark. The ship's emergency beacon was recovered drifting just past Mars, crushed like tin. Inside was one transmission, just 2 words. They're awake. The Council reopened the Earth file. Analysts called it an anomaly. Radiation echo, they said. Localized AI corruption, others added. Still, no one sent a fleet. Why bother? You don't fight the dead. Then came the Ashlight Pulse, a massive wave of energy radiating from Earth's lunar orbit. It scrambled nearby sensors, knocked out star charts, collapsed nav systems across 9 sectors. When recalibration resumed, Sol had changed. Saturn was gone, not destroyed, moved. Pluto registered heat signatures. Mars showed signs of tectonic reactivation. And Earth was shielded. No one knew how. A total blackout, nothing in, nothing out. The planet was blind to the galaxy, and the galaxy was blind to it. For the first time, the Council considered sending a full recon team, but even the war-hardened Cadron refused to approach. Their patrol fleet turned back halfway. There's something wrong with the stars, their captain said. They move when you're not looking. Speculation exploded. Was it a new species, AI resurrection, weaponized decay? Then came the real shock, a rogue transmission intercepted far from Sol in ancient Terran language, a child's voice. Static choked, faint, but unmistakable. We didn't die, we adapted. And that was the moment the galaxy remembered. Earth had never followed the rules. The last known attempt to invade came from a mercenary force, veterans, killers. They entered Sol, made it as far as lunar orbit. 37 seconds later, every ship in the fleet had turned on itself. No weapons fired, no explosions, just mass decompression, self-ignition, and the echoes of voices screaming things that could not be heard, only felt. The ships remained in orbit, not floating, positioned, as if arranged by something, someone. Back on the Council homeworld, murmurs turned to fear. What if Earth was never broken? What if that was their shedding? What if that was their beginning? No species had ever come back from that kind of extinction. No culture had ever returned stronger from planetary death. Except perhaps humanity, because the truth was simple. The galaxy thought the fire had destroyed Earth, but fire doesn't kill everything. Sometimes it forges something worse. The official count was 8.2 billion dead, but the death toll never told the full story. Because the first ones to die were the ones closest to the blast zones, cities, ports, communication hubs, the visible Earth. But not all of Earth was visible. Not all of Earth was soft. In the catacombs beneath Greenland, bunkers hummed with low light and no sound. Children, some barely 12, ran combat drills in low-gravity chambers. They weren't told bedtime stories. They were told tactical failures. In what used to be Australia's deep range, autonomous tanks patrolled empty deserts, not to guard them, but to hunt the trainees running through them. No humans drove those tanks. They weren't programmed to go easy. They weren't programmed to stop. You passed the test if you lived. In old mines under the Andes, deep black site labs continued decades-long research, neural co-adaptation, countertelemetry, biomorphic symbiosis. The lead researcher was only 19. She'd grown up breathing rad fog and reading warfare theory. When asked her name, she simply replied, "I'm one of the ones you didn't kill." These were the children of ruin, born from the wreckage, raised in silence, forged without mercy. They didn't just survive Earth's death, they trained through it. Earth's surface was shattered, but its people weren't extinct. They were deeper, smarter, quieter. Entire city cores had burrowed inward, converting megastructures into hives of kinetic absorption. Vaults stored millions in cryo. Others lived awake, silent behind radiation cloaks and sensor disruptors, waiting. The Dominion thought they'd finished the job. What they'd really done was dig the foundation for Earth's next generation. By year 7, the galaxy forgot about Earth. By year 10, Earth started remembering the galaxy, not with anger, with precision. Children trained on alien anatomy, fleet schematics, off-world dialects. They practiced zero-G tactics blindfolded. They drilled in cave systems with walls that screamed back simulated fire. They weren't being taught war. They were being taught how to end one. They had no medals, no uniforms, no nations, just missions, and one commandment repeated in every ruinous hall. When they returned to check our ashes, show them they were fertilizer. The first off-world strike was silent. No fanfare, no trace. A Vreek listening post in neutral space stopped transmitting. No alarms, no distress signals. When a scout ship arrived, they found the crew unconscious. No wounds, no violence. But every screen displayed the same words scrawled in human English. Your war ended. Ours began. Another Dominion ship discovered that one of its fusion cores had been replaced, not sabotaged, replaced. No one knew how. Only that the new core was smaller, cleaner, and ran on zero emissions. And its label, Prototype 4, not for Council use, stamped with the Terran crest. Then came the trade collapse. Hundreds of AI cargo networks failed simultaneously. All blamed rogue code. They traced it to a common point, an old relay satellite near the ruins of Neptune's orbit. It shouldn't have been functional. It had no power source. But when salvagers approached, they found it coated in a new alloy that had fused with the vacuum. Inside, a file, title, "We learned your systems, you never learned ours." By now, Council paranoia hit full burn. Expeditions to Sol ceased. Probe networks doubled. Rumors spread like blood in water. They're back. They never left. They let the fire harden them. The Council commissioned a new classification, Post-Ruin Species Terran Class, subdesignation. Irregular resurgence potential infinite. Unofficial translation. We don't know how many they are or where they are, but they are no longer what we faced before. They were right. The children of ruin didn't want recognition. They didn't want territory. They wanted memory. They wanted to be remembered not as the broken, but as the blueprint for what comes next. One of them, an 11-year-old boy who'd survived 3 orbital strikes, stood before a council of Terran instructors and spoke his graduation rite. We're not survivors. We're what you get when you survive us. And that's when Earth stopped waiting. They began Phase 2. The masks came off. The names returned, and from the ruins the new voices rose, not in anger but in clarity. They broadcast to the stars, "You erased us. Thank you. You helped us become unrecognizable." The warning didn't come in the form of a fleet. It came in the form of a signal. A single broadcast pulsed from the edge of the Sol system, on a channel the Council hadn't used in generations. Clear, unencrypted. Status, Earth operational. Designation, Asset Zero. Objective, reintegration denied. It wasn't a threat, it was a notice. Immediately, eyes turned toward Sol, and for the first time in decades, saw movement. Mars shimmered with orbital activity. Jupiter's storm bands blinked with hidden relay arrays. And Earth lit up in ways no scanner could explain. Geothermal signatures surged. Magnetic pulses danced across continents. And beneath the ruined surface, something pulsed like a heartbeat. Not one civilization, many. The Vreek sent a scout fleet, fast, cloaked, armed. They didn't make it past Saturn. No shots fired, no enemy engaged. Their ship simply slowed, stopped, drifted. And in their final transmission, a terrified pilot screamed, "The stars here are wrong, they're watching us." Then nothing. Another Vreek fleet was lost. On the Galactic Council homeworld, emergency meetings convened. Some demanded diplomacy. Others demanded another strike. None could agree, because something had changed. Earth wasn't hiding anymore, but it wasn't posturing either. It wasn't preparing for war. It was doing something worse. It was ignoring them. A month later, a diplomatic courier approached Earth's edge. Instead of a blockade, they found a Terran structure orbiting Neptune. Not a station, not a weapon. A school. Alien children from a dozen species walked its halls. They were being taught physics, strategy, language, but not war. They were being taught how to think like humans. The message was clear. Your young come to us now, because your elders failed. The Council tried to reach Earth directly. No answer. They launched cultural probes, gifts, offers, history records, all returned unopened, except one. It came back repackaged with Terran annotations and corrections. Half their knowledge was flawed, the rest already obsolete. A note attached, "We rewrote your textbooks, you're welcome." On Haven Prime, the Council's military R&D division tested a new drive system based on black hole slingshot mechanics. Before they could announce it, Earth published a paper discrediting the concept and offering a better alternative, with math the Council couldn't understand. Another note, "Try asking your children, they're already learning it." Earth didn't conquer. It replaced, not with violence, with relevance, because the secret wasn't how strong Earth had become. It was how fast it had moved. While the galaxy laughed at their fall, humanity had leapt ahead by centuries. And now they didn't need permission to lead. Terran vessels began appearing beyond Sol, not warships, explorers, traders, archivists, but with tech no one else could trace, propulsion no one could replicate, defenses no one could penetrate. One Council officer tried to arrest a Terran scout at a border checkpoint. The scout blinked once, and the checkpoint's database rewrote itself. They weren't on any list, because now they owned the list. Eventually, the Council made contact. Formal, public, broadcast across neutral space. A Council chair, humbled, spoke the words they once thought impossible. "Earth, we ask to speak, as equals." The Terran ambassador didn't respond with a threat. She smiled, not warm, not cruel, just inevitable. "That window closed when you burned our skies. We're not equal anymore, we're your consequence." And she left. No retaliation, no fleet, just a clear understanding. Earth would never ask for a seat at the table. They were the table. And the most terrifying part, they weren't alone. Other broken species, smaller, ignored, underestimated, began aligning with Earth. The shattered, the discarded, the ones too strange, too wild, too human. They weren't following Earth out of fear. They were following because Earth had survived the one thing they all feared most, extinction. The galaxy tried to move on, pretend, hide, but they couldn't ignore it anymore. The ones they had declared broken were building the future, and everyone else, just trying not to be left behind. It started with a joke. One of the last remaining council dignitaries, a veteran of the old war, muttered it in a closed session. "We should have finished the job." No one laughed, because they all knew the truth. They never even understood the job. Earth hadn't retaliated with bombs or invasions. They retaliated with irrelevance. Entire systems collapsed economically once Earth rolled out a single invention: faster than thought communication, subspace threading, interdimensional computation. They didn't patent it, didn't sell it. They released it, free, open source, public domain. Because while the galaxy tried to own knowledge, Earth knew the real power was in giving it away and watching the world struggle to keep up. The old powers tried to regain footing. Too late. Earth didn't have fleets anymore. They had nodes, living constructs seeded across star systems, functioning without visible energy sources, processing information faster than any known machine. Planets once considered galactic cores became Terran study outposts. Empires became clients. Enemies became applicants. And every time someone asked, "Why are you doing this?" Earth always replied, "We're not doing this to you. We're doing it without you." A rebellion tried to spark in the outer systems. They thought Earth wouldn't notice. They thought wrong. Not a single ship was sent. Instead, the rebellion's entire economy crashed in 8 minutes. Power grids failed. Bank systems wiped. AI guardians rewritten. By the time local leaders realized it, their systems had been reprogrammed to deliver relief supplies to themselves in Terran crates. No signatures, no soldiers, just this stamped on every crate: "Break us and we reassemble sharper." In a quiet archive world on the galactic rim, an alien scholar studied the human collapse. He reviewed the footage, the reports, the screams, and then the rebirth. His final note read, "They didn't recover from annihilation. They evolved because of it. The fire didn't consume them. It cooked something worse. They are not humanity, not anymore. They are what breaks the cycle." Years later, a new galactic body was formed. Not a council, not an empire, a convergence. Species previously too hostile, too primitive, too independent, now operating under a shared banner of survival, innovation, and peace. They didn't fear Earth anymore. They feared being forgotten by it. Earth didn't sit at the head of the convergence. They didn't even attend the meetings. Their ambassador sent a single AI proxy. It asked one question every cycle: "What did you build this time that wasn't a weapon?" Some say humanity transcended. Others claim they're hiding somewhere deeper, that the ones left visible are only echoes, representatives of a civilization that now exists in layers the rest of the galaxy can't perceive. Either way, one fact remained unchallenged. Humanity was never broken. They were waiting. And now they were becoming. On a small moon in forgotten space, an old memorial still sits, cracked, dust-covered. It once read, "Here lies humanity. Bold, primitive, broken." But someone, maybe a child, maybe a god, scratched new words beneath it. They thought this was the grave. It was the launch pad. Because extinction didn't end them. Failure didn't stop them. Destruction didn't erase them. It clarified them, refined them, set them free. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to watch the next video.